Happy 2022, Happy New Year. We are 10 days into January and all kinds of action coming out of Australia as players prepare for the Australian Open. There's a lot of big stories, but there's no bigger story than Novak Djokovic. Oh boy, what a show. So yeah, I'm presenting just the facts, ma'am. So basically, in summary, Novak gets into Australia. He thinks he's got a medical exemption to play the Australian Open because Tennis Australia has said so. Federal government comes in and goes, nope, you can't play. We're going to revoke your visa. They put him in quarantine. So from Thursday to Sunday, he was in a hotel. Him and his team were in a hotel room. But so then, unbeknownst to most of the public, he comes forward and says, well, I actually had COVID December 16th. Problem is, on December 17th, he visited a tennis academy for kids unmasked, and now that's become another kick in a hornet's nest. And the Djokovic camp so far has said, well, you know, we'll discuss that, but later on. But for now on, let's just focus on where the facts are. So a ton of gray area, because basically what's come out is Tennis Australia has kind of been very loose with the guidelines. They're not necessarily working with the Australian government. So it looks like Novak really did everything he thought he was supposed to do, but however, still ended up getting quarantined and regardless still ends up in a huge mess. Now, the unlikely person to step up and defend Djokovic is maybe his biggest hater, Nick Kyrgios. So Nick steps forward and is like, hey, gotta respect Djokovic. He's one of the king of the sports. And credit due to Kyrgios, recognizing Novak's contributions to the bushfires, in the previous year, and really calling, hey, hold on, let's find out and figure out what the facts are. But meanwhile, we got Rafa, who's like, hey, Novak knows what he needed to do in order to play Australian. He didn't do it, so it is what it is, But so, what ends up happening? Well, why not? It's 2022. Why not allow things to get even crazier? The fans show up. Apparently Novak is leaving, being released. They show up. Cops are pepper spraying him. It's a massive, massive mess. And then Novak finally releases a statement basically just saying, hey, thank you for everybody supporting him, that the judge has granted him the ability to be in Australia and play the Australian Open. So the big news is that he's playing the Australian Open. And then in some kind of bizarre, twisted fate, Kyrgios comes out and he's like, actually, I have COVID. I can't play the Australian Open. But now they're saying that he may have everything resolved in time so that he can play. So bottom line is Novak's in. Kyrgios, we don't know. We'll find out. But hey, welcome to 2022. A lot of other action happening in Australia. So let's jump to it. We had the ATP Cup and the unlikely heroes of Canada coming through, and I say unlikely because really in the early rounds they should have been eliminated. They got a little bit lucky where some other teams won and some other teams lost, but they ended up coming through and defeated Spain in the final convincingly. Didn't even have to play the doubles. Denis Shapovalov defeated Pablo Carreño Busta 6-4, 6-3, while Felix Auger-Aliassime defeated Roberto Bautista Agut 7-6, 6-3. Now for me, Bautista Agut, he is like the litmus test. You've got to be on your game if you're going to beat that guy. There's not a lot of variance in his play, so that's great for these guys. They've been on tour for a few years now, really looking like they've matured, especially Aliassime playing some serious ball. So big things coming for them at the Australian Open. What we also saw was in Melbourne, another vet coming through, or a vet coming through against American Maxime Cressy. Now he's been on the radar, but I honestly haven't had a ton of opportunities to watch him play. Big serve, big forehand, some skill up at the net, just pinches the net like crazy, but really exciting to see him break on the scene. And Nadal beat Maxime Cressy 7-6, 6-3. Nadal looking in form. I mean, he is looking really, really good, and it's good to see him on the hard court feeling healthy. So having him and Novak in the Australian Open is going to be terribly, terribly exciting. Also in Melbourne, Amanda Anisimova hasn't won a tournament since 2019, but stepped up big time, had a fantastic tournament where, in the final she was down 0-3 against Sasnovich, and ended up winning 6-4, 7-5, 7-5, 1-6, 6-4 to win that title there. And then another vet, one of my favorites, love Simona. Simona Halep comes through, winning her 24th title, consistent fashion. She looks primed, ready for the Open. And then also in Australia, but over in Adelaide, we had Gael Monfils looking terrific, defeating Karen Khachanov in the final, 6-4, 6-4. Khachanov was a little bit off, but Monfils, new coach, coming out looking determined and playing really smart tennis, taking his time, developing points, really sensing when Khachanov was off his game and making him come up with shots. That's not normally the Monfils that we've seen in the past. Gael is definitely a shot maker. It's why we all love watching him. But here, some consistent, steady tennis wins the title in Adelaide. Also, we saw Thomas Kanakis coming back and really showing some terrific form, losing out in the semis, but I tell you what, he is not the guy you want to draw at the Australian Open. He's not going to be seeded, so the top guys are going to be on the lookout. Really looking good. He's battled injuries his whole career. He just barely lost to Monfils in the semis there in Adelaide. So he is one to watch. He's a dark horse at the Australian Open. And then finally, Miss Ash Barty. She doesn't win one, she wins 2 titles. She takes down the singles title and the doubles title in Adelaide. And for all of you at home, I don't know how much you appreciate Ash Barty, but she is one of the most complete players, men, women's side, period. I mean, fantastic slice backhand, sets up the point, all the spins, can flatten the ball out, big heavy topspin when she needs to, really efficient at net. And I'm really personally really enjoying watching her. I would love to see her and Simona Halep in the final of the Australian Open. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna predict it. Yeah, I'll predict it. I'm gonna call it. That's who's gonna be in the final. And I'm gonna watch every second of it. So big things happening. We're only a week away from the Australian Open. It starts next Monday, and the storylines are developing on the women's side and on the men's side. I just can't wait. Hopefully all the wackiness starts to cool out. I think we've all had enough of that. Let's move on. Let's leave it in the past. But guys, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. You know what to do if you enjoyed today's video. Hit that like button, subscribe if you never want to miss one of these weekend wrap-ups that we do every Monday, getting you all the news from the tour. And be sure to check out the link in the comment section. There we have a comment, not a comment, a comment in the comment section. We've left a link for you to check out PlayYourCourt.com absolutely for free. And there we'll introduce you to players in your area, link you for lessons, everything that you could possibly want. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.